In today's video, we'll be looking at how to import any PSD mockup files or document inside of Affinity and then change the element inside of that mockup document. So before starting, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please hit the subscribe button in order to get new helpful tips and tricks related to Affinity. Now with that said, let's start the video. So in order to bring up a new mockup PSD document, first of all, I'll navigate below and open our Finder window. And after opening our Finder window, I'll simply click and drag the mock.pst file inside of the Affinity UI. And now after dragging the mockup file inside of the Affinity UI, you can see that every individual layers are fully intact. However, the issue right now here is the particular layer named UI1 should be a smart object, since we are able to change the UI or any element inside of this particular smart object. So this particular layer right now is a pixel layer. So in order to enable the smart object rendering inside of the Affinity, all we can do is first of all navigate up and select Affinity, navigate below and click on settings, and inside of the settings we have to scroll below and find a setting called import PSD smart objects where possible. So turn on these settings, and what this option basically allows us to do is it allows us to import the smart object layer inside of Affinity with its fullest editing capabilities. That is, we can change the contents inside of that layer. So I'll go ahead and close these settings in order to commit. And right now you cannot see that our layer has been changed to a smart object. That's because we need to close this document or restart this particular document in order to implement those changes or settings. So in order to close it, I'll use the shortcut key of Command plus W. And now you can see that we have successfully closed it. And now let's open the same mockup.pst document again. So we'll simply navigate below and select on the Finder window in order to open the images folder. And now let us again click and drag the mockup.pst file inside of Affinity window. And now you can see the difference. Before, this particular layer was a pixel type layer, and now it is an embedded document layer, which is equivalent to smart object layer inside of Photoshop. And in addition to that, you can also see that we have the perspective transformation effect fully intact inside or with this layer. And the other adjustment layer effects such as curves as well as color balance is also fully intact, similar to how it was before in Photoshop document. Now let's use the capability of embedded document, or in other words smart object inside of Affinity. So to do that, we can simply double click on this thumbnail now, and you can now see that the image that was inside of that embedded document layer has been opened up in a new tab. So this is the UI image that we input or kept inside of that particular embedded document or smart object layer. So now we can simply click and select it. Since it is already selected, I'll simply delete it first, and then next I'll simply navigate below and open the Finder window again, and then open the UI folder right here, and then click and drag and bring the next UI image inside of our embedded documents new window inside of Affinity. So I'll simply click and drag to reposition it like so. And if you're wondering what is the line, then please turn on the snapping option as well, since it will help us to align things properly and proportionally inside of Affinity without much using the alignment tools at the top, by saving us much more time. So we can simply align it to the center like so. And now after we are satisfied, we can simply go ahead and close this particular embedded document. So now you can see that right after we have closed our embedded document, it has automatically replaced our UI in this particular simple mockup, and it has automatically saved and then reflected those new UI inside of this mockup. So the next thing here is when we bring in or open up a PSD document inside of Affinity, adjustment layers such as curves and other adjustment layers will be fully intact with the settings that we have applied inside of the Photoshop document or inside of the Photoshop application. However, there are few other adjustment settings or features that would be simply flattened out after we have imported or opened the PSD or Photoshop document inside of Affinity. So that is one thing to remember and note. And another best thing about importing documents or any PSD documents or Photoshop documents inside of Affinity is if we save this file by navigating up and selecting file and then navigating below and clicking on save as, and now let's select the same image folder and then let's name it as mockup 2 and save it. Now what happens is if I open that same Finder window where we have saved the recent saved mockup 2 file, you can now see that the mockup2.af file has been newly saved, and the best thing is the size would be much more less than the actual PSD file. So I hope that you have understood the basic and core concept of importing mockup PSD documents inside of Affinity and using its smart object capabilities inside of Affinity with a new layer named or typed embedded document. So if you find this video helpful, please click on the like button, and for more tips and tricks related to Affinity, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching this video and see you on the next video.